It gets me every time. That little twing. So, hello and welcome to another episode of Good Fat Life. And we have a full house today, which is just so cool. This is such a treat, and to have not just one amazing guest, but three. And so I will start with you, Rachel.
All right.
So we are ladies of Livingston County.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so tell me about that. What is that?
All right. Well, thank you for having us. But Ladies of Livingston County is a group that we thought was needed in the area. We personally were looking for ways to connect and be a part of the community. I moved to the area a few years ago from Chicago after 10 years and knew no one out here and ended up starting a business and was like, the only way to grow is to immerse myself into the community. So yeah, it's kind of, that was my background of that. It came about, we wanted to do a photo shoot, and Kelly at the Collective actually connected me and Megan. And was like, Megan wants to do a content day. And I was like, okay. So I texted Megan. I didn't know who she was. And I was like, hey, do you want to collab on a content day together? Because that's kind of where my brain goes. Like, I always like to work with people and bring others in. I want to give opportunities to everybody. I want to help people as much as I possibly can. So I always look at it as a larger thing than just me. I'm like, yes, I want to do content day, but how do I make this even better and bring in other local vendors to make it even, better than that. So
tell me about what your business is.
So I started Beyond LivCo, a balloon decor company.
But that's not, you were in the fitness industry.
I still
dance
am.
And fitness?
Yeah,
okay.
I still am. So fitness is my real first true love and passion. I've been in the industry for almost 15 years. So I've done everything in that industry. And as we were kind of talking about earlier, phases of life, like I will always like it. It's what I know. It's what I do. It's comfortable for me. But I'm at that point where I never knew the event industry I would ever be in and would love it so much. The creative side of it. And that's where it draws me in. And that's where I'm running with things now. So I'm still in the fitness, but I'm trying to push more towards
event
content
day. What is a content day?
I just wanted nice photos to post. Okay. So I wanted to do a photo shoot. I wanted to create a display and just get some good pictures so I can post and put it on my website or social media. And that turned into, Megan wanting, content day for her flowers. And then I was like, okay, well, let's turn this into a mock bridal shower and bring in other people. Jill.
Oh, okay.
So I connected with Jill a lot. Okay. So I was like, Jill can set up a nice, pretty table. We can have photographers there. Like, we can bring in a cookie person. So all these different vendors that I had connected with already quickly in the industry, I was like, let's just bring us all together and do a really cool photo shoot.
Okay.
And
How
then
fun is that?
I was like, well, I don't want to break it down. So how do we turn this into an event? And then it snowballed from there into, well, let's turn it into an event. And that's really how it started, like Ladies of Livingston County.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. We turned it into our launch party that day. So we just had been brainstorming.
Seemed like somewhat of like a serendipitous meeting, kind of.
Yeah.
Because the first time we talked, I remember I was telling her I went to go pick up paper towel at Target. And I was sitting in the parking lot for an hour and 40 minutes on the phone with Rachel. And I was like, okay. And then I went home and told my husband, I said, I made a new friend today, like randomly. And he goes, where were you? I said, I was in the parking lot at Target talking to Rachel. He goes, who's Rachel? I was like,
my new friend.
Yeah, I'll tell you about her. But I said, we hit it off like immediately. So, we talked a lot about like our backgrounds I actually once upon a time was a personal trainer. So it was funny that she was in the wellness industry, in fitness, and kind of dabbling in other things. And then, and I had told her that I secretly had been wanting to start like a networking type, like a fun group, because I was going to these events, but driving an hour and a half to go to them where some of my other friends were at that owned businesses. And she's like, well, why don't we just do that here? And I was like, oh, okay. That seems way easier than what I was thinking.
Like support local businesses here and connect. And it kind of just spiraled from there.
Well, and you said something about fun. making it fun, because that's one of the I don't know, components of what you do is have fun,
Right,
in your networking and in your business development and all of that. So, Valerie, how did you get into the group?
Well, I came to said launch party. I had recently left my corporate job of 20 years, and I was talking to my husband, and it was on Instagram, and a friend had reposted it, and I was like, you know what, I need to go to this. And then I was like, no, like, I'm not going to go. I don't know anyone. I'm going to go by myself. And going by yourself to events is really intimidating.
It can be scary.
It can be scary. And I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to go. And I went, and everyone was so welcoming. And there was just an energy in the room that I couldn't really explain. It was just so well done. They were so full of energy. It just lit a fire inside of me. And I'm like, this is amazing. I want to be a part of this. I'm so glad I'm here at the beginning and watching this and seeing what happens with this and seeing what happens with my own business at the time, because it was brand new. And it was just really exciting, and I couldn't wait for the next event to happen.
Awesome. Yeah. No, it was kind of cool, because then she had come to another one, right? Like we said earlier, there was, a different person that had started with us, but because of personal reasons, like, life took her in a different way, and brought in Val, because she was like, I can see you guys need some help.
Yeah. She could see it from a mile away.
And we're like, yeah, we could use an extra hand again. And so, yeah, that's how we all came together, and our kids actually go to school together. And so it's just such a small world. So
yeah, it was funny. Val and I met at the first, I remember we stood there and talked for 25 or 30 minutes and talked about everything, kids, like where we planned on going with Ladies of Livingston County, kind of what she was doing with business. So it was a very natural fit when she wanted to help, and our vision was all kind of just aligned, and that's been nice.
You mentioned your vision, so you were talking, it's like you have some really big vision for 2025. So tell us about that. So what's that?
I feel like this past year was a lot of learning, right? It's still going to be learning and growing. We know that this is all of like our third or fourth side gig, I guess you could say. I don't even want to call it a gig, but we all work full time. We all have kids. We all have our second business on top of that. Plus then we have this. So it's like at that point we kind of had to say, like, we know we want to do so much with this. We only have so much time. So that's where I came back and was like, I always have to tell myself, like, give yourself grace. Like, you can't do everything at one time. It's going to take time to grow and be okay with that. So I think this last year we did really well we're not even a full year in yet, to be honest, because our launch was end of February. It was leap year last year. Yeah. So we're not even a full year in, and we've had multiple events, multiple get-togethers, lots of community stuff already, buzz, connections, like
a lot of referrals between each other, which has been great.
So that's been awesome. So to see where our brains are taking this in 2025, like, we want that to continue to grow. And then, of course, with the membership. So that's the big thing that's starting. So, like, how do we make this different? How do we give more value that it can be for everyone and make it a little bit more of an exclusive group? So that's where the membership came in. And it's going to, very affordable rate, because people were asking, how do I join? I'm like, well, you just show up, like there, you don't have to join. Like, we're just follow us on Instagram and show up, buy a ticket to a ticketed event, and, come meet us. So now that we can offer the membership, it's going to be a little bit more exclusive. We're still going to host like happy hours where anyone can come and that type of thing. But we would love to have a retreat one day. And like, I know Megan's like big goal, which I'm totally on board with now too, of like, we can get enough members to a point where we can host a really cool retreat and actually go somewhere. Just the more that we continue to come together as a community, the bigger that we can grow and the more we can offer. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you put it very well with what we're trying to accomplish next year. Like, the first time we talked, we were like, okay, well, maybe, we'll get a couple people to show up. We had people that were upset with us that they couldn't attend our launch party because at the venue that we had been at, the Collective in Howell, they can cap it at,
we had like 50 people, yeah.
And we had like 60 or 65 people that wanted to show up, and we got a couple really crabby emails that people were like, oh my gosh, well, how can I not go? Let me know if somebody backs out. And we were like, whoa, okay, we planned on maybe 15 to 20
Those
people
are like
showing.
good problems to have, right?
Right. So all of a sudden we're like, okay, we actually need to do something with this. So it was kind of like, building the plane while you're flying it at that point for the past
very much
year.
so.
But it's been,
Which we
it's
still
really
are,
fun.
but
yeah.
But that's
we're
okay.
still building and flying at the same time.
Yeah.
But that's the truth of business,
Yes.
right? Every day you just don't know what it's going to bring.
No.
Right.
And so that's part of it is having that mindset. It's like, I like to say, get curious. It's like,
Yes.
I wonder what's going to happen here or how we're going to move through this.
Right.
But to have a group, like you said, of people love, and trust, right? That you can call on to say, hi, I got this situation, or can you just come sit with me, or can you listen to me? Or,
Like we want
right?
it to be a group where it's like we said, it's welcoming, it's very friendly. Like I'm an open book always. Like I love connecting with people. I love connecting people. Like one of my really good friends that I grew up with, she lives out in Clarkston, but she came to our event last year. She started a wallpaper business. So she puts up wallpaper.
Oh, cool.
She connected with Val at that event and she did wallpaper for her. You know what I mean? So like that never would have happened.
Right.
If they weren't at that event together. So that to me is really, really cool. But creating that space of that safety net for women to know, okay, I can come to her. It's an open book. It's an open community. Like I don't have to feel intimidating going to their events. Like I know I'm going to be welcomed when I walk in the door. Like I want everyone to feel so safe and happy and comfortable when they come in and when they leave, like they've made new friends. And then bringing in that educational side of content and classes and speakers and trying to help people grow within their businesses. So talking about topics that are going to business related to help them grow.
Yeah. For every win we've had, I mean, we can all go through and list 10 more failures that we've had. So being able to teach from that experience and maybe make things easier for a new entrepreneur or a mom who is dreaming of, starting their own business and not having to leave their kids every day, or, somebody's thinking about leaving their full-time job, it's nice to be able to say, okay, you don't have to learn the hard way. We've done this. Let's do, Zoom class, or let's do something on this, or, a couple weeks series of a teaching. And you don't have to spend the money on, losing. You don't have to fail and do all of that. You can just learn from what we've already done.
And there's always going to be failures no matter what.
Yes.
It's just in your own way. But knowing that there's a space where people have been there and done that, and you can go talk to them about it.
Right.
Yeah.
When I started out at Rice Consulting, I have a business consulting company. So is what my primary business is. So Good Fat Life it started as kind of a hobby, but it's become a real second business. But there was nobody.
Right.
Right? You're in the corporate world Friday, and Monday you're like, okay, now what? And there were the chambers, which have their place. But for somebody starting out brand new, you need a different kind of support, in my opinion. You really do.
Yes.
And that's
what we're hoping to bring.
Yeah, that's amazing.
To give some direction, or if somebody even comes to an event and says, hey, I have this idea. It's kind of related to, balloons or events or insurance or, something in somebody else's industry. They can say, is there a need for this? And kind of vet it out and get that gut feeling of, okay, this is the next step. And maybe a sounding board, or eventually like a mentor-mentee type setup where you can kind of have somebody to walk through it with you, so that, if you don't know how to file an LLC or register, anything.
Or get
file
insurance for your business.
Yes.
Contact insurance, because that's important, right?
It is important. I think people get, think that sometimes it's overwhelming. It's, and there's lots of experts. Like, Megan said, there's so many different people in the group that it can, it doesn't have to be intimidating. When we were doing an event, it was kind of like a speed dating to learn about everybody's
speed networking
industry, speed networking that they were in. And it was amazing to learn about what everybody's passions are. And then to hear about insurance, which isn't really a sexy topic, but they were like, oh, okay. I think some eyes are opened.
It's so necessary.
It's so necessary.
Right?
Yeah. And we can approach each other, I think, with that relationship first. And then, then comes the knowledge and every event I've walked away from, we always have that little piece of, I learned something new.
There's a good nugget out of there. Yeah. Like you take away something from it, or you meet someone, or, you know, that you've created that new relationship with, that new connection that's going to take you to that next step or open another door for you.
Do you have, so tell me about your events. Do you do them, do you have a regular event, like every month, third Wednesday of the month?
And this is where we kind of failed over the summer. But summer happens. It's different. So, but our intention is to, yes, have something monthly. And we were kind of rotating between a Zoom event. So, you know, $10-15, have a speaker come in where, you know, you can be a mom at home cooking dinner and still be able to tune in and listen and get something from it if you can't get away, right? And then have in-person events where it is ticketed, it's a little bit more. We have a speaker come in, you get, you know, it's a 2-hour event. You meet people in person, you know, that type of thing. And then we have our free, like, kind of happy hours that we've been doing, which people really like too. Cause that's just come and network and hang out and meet us, you know, very low barrier to entry. So that's been really nice too. So we kind of wanted a little bit of something for everyone. Cause we kept getting feedback like, oh, I can't make it. Or, you know, like, so those options for Zoom of that mom that can never get out of the house or always has practice and they can listen in from the soccer field, you know, so
kind of our target market of people that we're trying to connect with anyway, because like we said, we're trying to reach that, you know, allow the new businesses in and give them somewhere to go. And if you're juggling full-time job and trying to figure out the startup process and going to sports in the spring and, you know, you're all over the place, it's easy to call in or pick up a, you know, a recording of something that we've already done and make 30 minutes. And, or, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I listen while I'm in the shower or while I get ready and, you know, pick up a podcast and just, you take away a nugget from everything. If you're, you know, put yourself in the right places kind of is what we're trying to do. So.
And that's going to be kind of the theme for 2025 too. Again, like we're still going to have happy hours. We're still going to have some Zoom events, some in-person events. So,
okay. All right. And so how would somebody find you? How do they get on your list of what's going on? Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that primarily where you, okay.
We have our following grew pretty quickly on there.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Very surprised. Like throughout the summer too, like we were very, I wouldn't say not as active.
Yeah.
And I texted her one day, I was like, how do we get to this number? You know,
And it kept going. We weren't putting any new content out. And it was still, hey, when's the next event?
Yeah.
Hey, when's the next event? And we're like, okay, we need to pick a date and sit down and figure out when this next elusive event is and get the next 6 months planned, because we had, you know, all these big drives and big ideas, and the summer came and was busy and being in events. I had weddings. Rachel had, you know,
July
a million
was crazy.
events. There were a couple of weeks where I texted her and it was like 5 days later. She's like, oh my God, I'm drowning. I can't breathe. I can finally text you back. And so we just didn't get to that point. But so now we're all, you know, we picked up another set of hands to help and brought Val in and are very helpful for that and are very thankful for that.
Yeah.
And
we know going into the summer too, it's going to be low key too again. But the idea with the membership though is to always have something. Like we want to do member spotlights. So we're not at podcast level yet, but you know, we're going to still do Zooms, but you know, we would love to eventually maybe have a podcast one day or, you know, those are just like big goals and ideas and dreams at this point. But like right now, like we can host a monthly Zoom, and if you're a member, then you get to tell your story and you get to promote your business and talk on something that you're the expert on that people of the group can learn from. You know, it could be anything from business to like what your actual service is or whatever, and keep that as a recording so people can go back and look at. So we want to spotlight the members. We want to promote them and help their businesses too. So that's part of the membership.
That's like the best of all, the best of all worlds, right?
Yeah.
So you've got this amazing community that's having fun. But one of the things that you said though, Megan, was that I think is so powerful, right? Is that it's kind of an ebb and flow, right? It's like the truth is you have kids, right? And you have your business that's booming in these months. And that's the reality of it.
Right.
And the point of any of it is not to create a life that you're just drowning and
Stressed,
overwhelmed.
yeah.
It's to create a life that is your good fat life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
The one that you want to create.
Yeah.
And so it is going to be a ebb and flow, and you're going to learn from it, and people are going to show up that help.
And one of the big topics that we wanted to talk on last year, which we never got to, was how to keep it all together.
Yeah.
Like how to actually like do all the things. Like how do you keep your sanity and have your main job and take care of a family or a house, or, you know, keep up with your marriage and yourself. Like how do you keep yourself healthy through all of this?
Right.
You know, like that's the biggest thing that we come back to all the time is wanting to talk about too, is like promoting your own self and your health.
Right.
Right.
That's kind of almost our, I would maybe loosely use it as, but our theme for 2025, because a lot of the events we have planned are very much wellness focused, and, you know, they have a business element, but they're, how do you take care of yourself when it's, you know, you're an accountant and it's tax season and you've got a million things to do and a million places to be, and, you know, kids' sports are picking up, the summer's right around the corner, and how do you manage it all? So that's kind of mostly what we've been aiming for next year. And that's where the membership kind of comes in, to where, you know, you can ebb and flow, and eventually a retreat, and being able to say, okay, you know, maybe I can't attend these small events, but if I devote 2 days to myself to go on this weekend retreat, I can get all these little nuggets of information and I can take it away. And if you can't make, you know, consistent time, maybe you can make that block. So that's kind of where we're at, of just almost more so serving what people need instead of just what we initially wanted to do.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities and where places this could go. And we want to, like we were talking about yesterday or the other day, like putting it out there, like what do people want and need? Like, and we want to bring that to life. You know, like where are people at in their journey right now? Where are people at in life? Like what do they want us to do? You know, that will kind of help guide us too, because, and we want to be that resource, and we want to be there to help them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just like everybody else's businesses too, really, because, you know, the businesses that we own, I mean, you can start it with an idea, but if, like with the flowers that we grow, I had all these big dreams for all these subscriptions, and I was like, you know, people will come and they'll pick up flowers and I'll have more subscriptions than I need. And all of a sudden it was, hey, do you teach classes? Hey, do you do weddings? Do you do, you know, baby showers? Do you do all this stuff? And I was like, oh, well, the need's here. And I have a huge passion for wellness, and we do like all spray-free flowers. So I do mostly non-toxic everything in my house, with our flower farm, with everything. So we do non-toxic kind of everything, and there's a big need there too. And a lot of people have contacted and they said, do you do edible flowers for weddings? Do you do flowers for cake? And I'm like, okay, I can. I absolutely can, but that was never in the business plan.
Right.
So it's just interesting seeing firsthand how our businesses ebb and flow, and then how it's done the same thing here, where
it's so true. Like you go with what is needed.
Yeah.
you know, like, so.
Right. So that's kind of how Good Fat Life came about, is we were making a snack, a healthy fat snack. And no, seriously, that's how it started.
What kind of snack was it?
What?
What kind of snack was it?
It was a high fat, low carb, fiber, like bar.
Okay.
Okay.
And because we read, I bet we looked at 5,000-6,000 bars, ingredients.
Wow.
Because you can't find anything that
You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
You have to make
the
it,
marketing
yeah.
would say it's good, but you read it, and it's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
not.
yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had 2 partners, and with it, and we spent 3 years developing the formula and the whole thing. But I found that so many people wanted education,
Right.
and so that's where my heart was, right? And so I sold off that and went to the
That's awesome.
the media to have a platform for people that are doing amazing things to communicate.
Yeah.
So you
It's
just
definitely
don't know,
needed.
and it's fun, and
Yes.
every day's
Yeah.
different. And you're right. Well, so I guess I'm just thinking there's so much that's here. And we do a workshop 2 to 3 times a year because my whole thing was I wanted the magazine to come to life.
Okay.
I didn't want it to be just something you read. I wanted it to be something that's you incorporate into your day. And it's called More Wonder, Please. So it's like falling in love with yourself, and it's just that
cool.
time to just spend on yourself and have little wonders.
Right.
Because when you're we're in the stage, do you have kids, Val? So you guys are all in this stage of your life where you really have very little time that's yours. Right?
Yes.
I remember those years, and it kind of felt like Groundhog's Day. Like every day was going to be the same as the day before until the kids got to be a certain age. It's all good, but you're right. I love that you are creating this, and we want to do whatever we can to help support what you're doing.
Yeah, and we want to help you too. Like you should come to
yes,
connect
I'd love
you.
to.
I mean, I know you probably know so many people
Right.
in the area and the community that you've connected with, but
I didn't know any of you. Right?
I know.
So
there's a
true.
whole world out there.
There is this big world out there, and so I'm going to say, so check out Instagram, and it's what, Ladies of Livingston County?
ladiesofliv.co.
Yep.
Oh, ladiesofliv.co. Okay,
Yep.
and
Yes.
we'll put that in the show notes for anybody who's doesn't remember, like I tend to not unless I write it down.
Well, maybe Facebook should be a goal in 2020.
Yeah. Well, we have a group that we started. Remember,
It's there,
and it has
but it's
3
just
members.
not. Trying to connect the two is just always very difficult.
Yeah.
So
It takes a lot of time. I don't think people realize how much time social media takes to do it right.
Yes.
To do it well and thoughtfully.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and energy.
Yes.
Right? You
It
can't
does.
do it when you're at the end of your day when you're tired.
Yeah. And the audiences are different. So let's
Yes.
thinking of different content and different ways to reach them. And we were like, Instagram's enough for us right now.
Just tackle
works.
one.
Well, and it sounds like it works. I mean, you just, one day at a time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that said, I want to take a moment and do a shout out. We're talking about self-care a little bit to Snedicor's Cleaners. They are one of my very favorite self-care companies. I literally put my cleaning, my laundry things that are kind of special wash.
I do that
Right?
too. I
Do
I
you?
use them too.
Right? You put it in
Yellow
the bag
bag.
and you
Yep.
put it on the door and it comes back. And like even this week is a very busy week, and I have confidence that I'm going to have exactly what I want to wear. It's going to be ready to go.
Nice.
So so thank you to Snedicor's Cleaners for helping me take care of myself. So on that, thank you all so much for being here. Really
you.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Yes,
I'm
thank you.
sure we'll see lots of each other in the coming months, years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a lot of events in Brighton.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
We have a shared mission, and what each of you offers are things that we need to use at Good Fat Life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's very cool. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Check out our goodfatlife.com and then go out and live your good fat life.